Ever wondered how to level up your social media game? Meet Dittofeed, the secret sauce influencers use. Ready to unlock your online potential? Click to find out more. I was truly amazed to meet Chandler Craig, the co-founder of Dittofeed. With years of experience in marketing tech at startups and Fortune 500 companies, Chandler knows this space inside and out. Now they're reshaping how companies handle user messaging with a solution that's flexible, smart, and affordable. It's backed by Y Combinator and growing fast. But what's the secret behind this innovative approach? You'll want to stick around to find out. So get ready to dive deeper as Chandler shares how Dittofeed is changing the game for businesses, tackling the big issues in user engagement like never before. Chandler Craig's Dittofeed is changing the game in customer engagement with self-hosted solutions. They focus on what users truly need by listening closely to their feedback. This helps Dittofeed build useful features and integrations quickly, making it a must-have for businesses. The best part? Chandler emphasizes targeting the right customers and adapting to B2B needs, ensuring smooth sales cycles. If you're starting out, think carefully about your customers like Chandler did. It's key to success. Welcome to The Founders Show, the ultimate podcast for startups and visionaries. Today, we are thrilled to have Chandler Craig, the founder of Dittofeed, with us. Here at The Founders Show, we don't just tell stories, we share them with over 100,000 listeners and across social media. Whether you're just starting out or reaching for new heights, we're here to help you connect and grow. So let's get started. Hi, Chandler. This is Vats from The Founders Show. Thanks for joining this podcast, and I'm so glad to have you here with me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Beth.
Glad to hear that, Chandler. Let's dive right in. What's the name of your startup, and what big problem are you solving?
Our startup is Dittofeed, and we are an open source customer engagement platform. We are solving the problem of self-hostability that hasn't been around in the industry thus far, and we're making things more flexible and composable for our customers.
That sounds fascinating, Chandler. So with Dittofeed, you're tackling the gap in self-hosted.
That's correct.
Got it. What inspired you to focus on self-hosted solutions and build Dittofeed? Was there a specific moment or challenge that sparked the idea?
Yeah, so me and my co-founder both have experience with legacy marketing automation software at startups and Fortune 500 companies, and my own marketing consultancy in the past. And we saw these problems, and we thought, why not update the product category and bring it into the modern age?
That's such a great insight, Chandler. Leveraging your first-hand experience with legacy systems must have given you a clear view of the gaps. How did you and your co-founder go about turning this vision into reality? What were the first steps?
So we both had jobs previously, so we thought, we need to find some funding. And so we applied to Y Combinator, and we got in on our first try, thankfully. And that allowed us to quit our jobs and just start doing this full time. My co-founder Max worked at a company called Braze, which is a big company in this space, and he had some really, really good insights on things that could be improved. And I had more sort of on-the-ground experience at previous companies making the actual journeys and customer segments and email templates. And so together, both of our knowledge combined kind of brought us to where we're at now.
That's incredible, Chandler. Getting into Y Combinator on your first try is no small feat. Congrats on that. It's clear that you and Max brought complementary expertise to the table. What was it like transitioning from stable jobs to full-time entrepreneurship? Any challenges or surprises in those early days?
Yeah, so a big surprise to us was the fact that B2B software is its own beast where, there's a specific sales cycle that we had to get acquainted with because neither of us come from a sales background. So, we had to figure out who our ideal customer persona was. We had to figure out, the best ways of reaching them. And Y Combinator actually helped a lot in the early days of sort of honing our sales technique and our marketing technique, and figuring out lead gen, figuring out all those sorts of sales techniques that are required to run a successful startup.
That's such a valuable learning curve, Chandler. It's impressive how you adapted to the complexities of B2B sales, especially without a sales background. You mentioned Y Combinator helped to refine your approach. What was the most impactful piece of advice or strategy you picked up during that experience?
Well, maybe it sounds obvious to people that are already in B2B sales, but, we had to learn things about outreach, things about what platforms are best to use. I didn't really have any experience with Sales Navigator or Apollo. And so just getting acquainted with some of these systems and how to use them and how to personalize outreach so that, we're not spamming people and that we get high conversion to demos booked and that sort of thing. They're helpful in guiding us to those platforms and how to use them.
That's super insightful, Chandler. Personalizing outreach and leveraging tools like Sales Navigator and Apollo definitely seemed like game changers for your sales process. Once you started booking demos, how did you approach showcasing Dittofeed's value to potential customers? Any strategies that work particularly well?
So we kind of knew right away that having a self-hostable platform would be appealing to companies that have some need for protecting their personal identifiable information, or PII. Their customers' data needs to remain on their servers. So one way that we approached sales was to target these customers, and also we had inbound from companies that were in highly regulated spaces like finance and health, and that sort of guided us towards continuing to build in the space and continuing to reach out to similar companies.
That's a smart approach, Chandler. Focusing on industries like finance and health, where data privacy is critical. It's great that you had inbound interest early on too. How did you balance building out Dittofeed's features while also catering to the specific needs of these highly regulated industries?
So the issue with starting a company in a product category that's fairly old, companies like MailChimp and Iterable have been around for, a decade and a half now. The issue is that you have to reach a degree of feature parity with your competitors. So in our case, MailChimp and Iterable are a couple of examples of competitors, and that takes a little while. So there was some balance to be made between, working on feature parity while also, working with our customers to build out new features like embeddability and things that they needed. So that's sort of the balancing act that we've had to figure out from a product perspective.
That's a tough balancing act, Chandler. Catching up to feature parity while innovating with unique offerings like embeddability. How do you prioritize which features to develop next? Is it mostly customer driven, or do you also rely on your own vision for the product?
It's pretty much all customer driven at this point. We had some vision of what we wanted to make the product into at the beginning. And, while I still think some of our early ideas are good and we will implement them eventually. The initial features that were requested were, a little bit different than what we had initially dreamed up out of our own heads. And I think that's always the right approach, right? Is talking to your customers, getting feedback, and integrating that into your product. You don't want to just build whatever every individual customer or potential customer requests, but after a substantial amount of customers request the same thing, then it becomes obvious, that's the direction that we should go in.
Absolutely, Chandler. Listening to customers and identifying recurring needs is such a smart way to shape your product. It's great that you've stayed flexible while still holding on to your long-term vision. Speaking of customers, how did you land your very first ones? Was it through outreach, inbound interest, or something else?
Well, one of the great things about Y Combinator is you're in a community of founders that need products, and you are constantly making new friends. It's a great 3 months of networking. And so we had some early customers and users through friends at Y Combinator, and, also got some early customers just through outreach. But yeah, so primarily it was, friends and some classic sales outreach.
That's fantastic, Chandler. Leveraging the Y Combinator network sounds like a huge advantage, and combining that with outreach clearly worked well. Once you had those early customers, how did their feedback shape Dittofeed in its initial stages? Any specific changes or features that came directly from their input?
Yeah, so one of the things that came directly from user feedback was, we had sort of like the basic product, a journey builder, kind of drag and drop style, and a basic HTML template editor, and a segment builder for segmenting out customers. But we had to kind of listen to customers about what integrations to build first, which email providers, for instance, were most used, or, up and coming email providers like Resend that people wanted to use more than, say, a SendGrid, which is also kind of like in this legacy space. And so, yeah, I would say that integrations have been highly customer guided. And the great thing about being open source is that you can get some help through open source bounties on building out some of these integrations. So, yeah.
That's brilliant, Chandler. Prioritizing integrations based on customer needs, especially with emerging providers like Resend, shows how in tune you are with your users. And leveraging open source contributions for those integrations is such a smart move. It really aligns with your flexible, self-hosted approach. How has being open source shaped your community and the way you engage with users?
It's been a really great way of building out a Discord community relatively quickly and getting rapid feedback on, bugs and issues, and getting, just rapid feedback is, I would say, is the real benefit of the community and of being open source, or at least one of the benefits. But yeah, so our community has been really awesome and has contributed a lot of cool things and improved our dashboard, for instance, and made us a lot more user-friendly.
That's amazing, Chandler. Building a vibrant Discord community and getting real-time feedback must be such a game changer. It's great to hear how your users are actively contributing to improving Dittofeed. What's one standout moment or contribution from the community that really made an impact on your product?
Yeah, so in terms of contributions, we, initially only had a SendGrid integration for email providers, or, you can also use SMTP and that sort of thing. But we needed to integrate more email providers, and so we had the community build out MailChimp as an email provider, Resend as an email provider. We had help with Amazon SCS. The list goes on, Postmark. And so, yeah, we were able to kind of start servicing a lot of people pretty quickly through our open source community.
That's incredible, Chandler. Having your community step up to build integrations like MailChimp, Resend, and Amazon SCS must have been a huge boost. It's a testament to the power of open source and the value people see in Dittofeed. Looking ahead, what's your vision for Dittofeed in the next few years? Any big goals or milestones you're aiming for?
Yeah, so we have just put out an embeddable product. So this is specifically highly useful for vertical SaaS companies, although any company could use it. But say you're a vertical SaaS company, say you are a hotel concierge management platform and you help hotels manage their guests. And you don't have a way of helping the hotels automate, marketing messaging to their guests or potential guests. You could integrate Dittofeed or embed Dittofeed into your product and then instantly have a way of increasing your feature set so that hotels can message guests in an automated way. So that is sort of a growing product area for us. And beyond that, we're obviously looking to leverage AI in the coming year in order to help people create messaging journeys and customer segments and design email templates, all with natural language as opposed to low-code tools or full-code tools.
That's an exciting roadmap, Chandler. The embeddable product sounds like a game changer, especially for vertical SaaS companies looking to expand their offerings seamlessly. And incorporating AI to simplify messaging journeys and design through natural language, wow, that's going to make Dittofeed even more powerful and user-friendly. What excites you most about these upcoming developments?
Well, I think that it's going to mean that anyone can get started messaging their users instantly. So in the future, we will do away with the need to have engineers on hand to help marketing teams do all this stuff, and it'll be much more user-friendly for all non-technical people. And so it's just going to lower the barrier to entry for anyone who wants to become an entrepreneur, who wants to become a business owner, and also have an easy way of starting up messaging for marketing or transactional use cases.
That's such an inspiring vision, Chandler. Lowering the barrier to entry for entrepreneurs and empowering non-technical users to handle messaging effortlessly is a huge step forward. It's clear Dittofeed is set to make a big impact. Before we wrap up, what's one piece of advice you'd give to aspiring founders who are just starting out?
I would say really think about who you want your customer to be before you decide on what idea to pursue. We pivoted from an earlier idea that was in the music industry, even though we had a lot of connections and a lot of experience in music industry, at music industry companies and, in music tech startups. It was just really difficult for us to have artists and managers as customers due to their lifestyle, due to their responsiveness. It was really hard to close deals, even if people really wanted the product we were offering at the time. And so when we moved into B2B SaaS, it was a real game changer. And, people have budget, have line items, are ready to act quickly, are not as cash strapped as, an emerging musical act. And so it was just easier to work with businesses as customers. So I would say think about who you want your customer to be.
That's fantastic advice, Chandler. Choosing the right customer base can truly make or break a startup, and your pivot to B2B SaaS clearly paid off. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, insights, and vision for Dittofeed. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Wishing you and Max continued success as you grow and innovate.
Thanks so much, Bats.
You're welcome, Chandler. Take care and best of luck with Dittofeed. Thanks for tuning into the Founder Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss out on our latest chats. If you're a startup founder and want to share your journey with us, head over to founder.show to sign up. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep chasing those dreams.